New York City mayoral frontrunner Zohran Mamdani's plan to open several government-run grocery stores is garnering skepticism from a maybe unlikely place. CNN's Abby Phillip pressed the Democratic Socialist on his proposal. Let's watch.
Why is the government a better solution for a lack of grocery stores, food deserts, than just working with the private sector to have them do what they know how to do, which is run grocery stores? What's your answer to that?
There are more than 1,000 grocery stores in New York City. I'm proposing creating 5 additional ones, one in each borough of New York City that the city would run, and that would guarantee cheaper groceries, not free food, but cheaper groceries. And part of that is because food is a necessity for New Yorkers. It's a necessity for everyone, and yet it's something that people are being priced out of.
And she didn't let him off the hook that easy. She followed up with this response. Take a look.
In Kansas City, where they had a government-run grocery store, and it's been there for years, but it's on the verge of closing because it doesn't work. They've been riddled with crime. They've dealt with just a lack of inventory. There are other examples where it just hasn't worked because, frankly, the government is not that good at being in the business of being in grocery stores.
Now, Mamdani's appearance comes after days of mounting speculation that current Mayor Eric Adams and Republican candidate Curtis Sewell will drop out of the race. But both candidates have reaffirmed their desire to stay in the race. Currently, Mamdani is leading the other candidates in a 4-way race, according to recent polls, and he has 42% support over former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, Sewell and Adams ain't going nowhere. And this is the Mamdani show. And he's going to win and do his stupid government-run grocery plan. Okay, first of all, I understand the concept.
Okay, I'm about to say, do you want me to explain this to you, Robby?
There's no grocery store nearby. This doesn't apply to New York.
What? It definitely does. There's certain areas where there's like a corner store, what we call like a bodega or something. It's not all the healthiest groceries, and it's very highly priced groceries that people have closest to them. Also, if you know that, because I've lived in New York, some people live in a walk-up. I know that might be old school to you, but I lived at a 6th-floor walk-up. And so meaning you need to get a grocery store that's very close, because not only are you carrying the groceries if you're walking now, or you're using public transportation, now you're walking all the way up to your top of your apartment to drop the groceries off. So they need to be close, accessible, and easy. You can't Uber around everywhere, Robby. They don't have the luxury, some people, of doing that.
I've spent significant time in New York City. I've enjoyed none of it, but there is
We're talking about the boroughs also, right?
Get you around everywhere, and I just don't believe this is actually a problem. If it is a problem, and then if Abby Phillip, good for her, she's totally dead on here, is pointing out the obvious problems that if you have a government-run store that's offering deliberately lower prices, people might just swarm that store because it's offering lower prices, and so they're going to have difficulty keeping their inventory. You could, this is the stupidest way, in my view, to go about redistribution or welfare, is to have the government run something, because the government, like she says, runs things badly. If you're going to do some kind of redistribution or welfare policy, just write a check to the poor people, and then they can use that money to go hire a better carrying cart, whatever, to take the groceries from the grocery store to pay for the groceries, rather than have the government run what in 5 locations in this giant city. How is that even going to necessarily help the problem you're pointing out? Like, well, what if you don't live close to that one? Like, right. There's no way you can put it somewhere where that's solving that problem for a large number of people by its very nature. So it seems just very silly to me.
I certainly don't think that out of all of Mamdani's idea, this one is at the top of the list for me, right? But food insecurity is real in New York City. I believe since 2019, the state comptroller in New York says that prices have gone up for groceries, specifically in New York, more than the rest of the country at 25%. And so if you think about the already cost of living in New York, plus the groceries, Mamdani is speaking, whether you like what he's saying or not. He's providing solutions, whether you think they're unrealistic or not. He's doing the same thing that President Trump did during the campaign trail, provide solutions to people that are economically hurting. And so he's saying, here's my ideas. I want to freeze rents and create stabilization for rent. I want to provide these government-run grocery stores. I want to make childcare acceptable and free for parents. And so he's not only just talking to people exactly where they want to hear it and talking to their wallets, because people care about that and mostly voted Trump in because of that, according to most polls during the election season. He's actually coming up with solutions. So just like people may or may not have agreed with Trump's solutions, he won because he was presenting them. And what people argue is that Democrats aren't doing that enough. And I applaud Mamdani for even laying them out.
He's put forth an idea. It's a bad one, but it's an idea. Here's my solution. I would like to look at, well, what are the rules and regulations that make it difficult to open, start, run a bodega. Which of those could we relax so that you can open them more easily, you can get inventory more easily, and there'll be more competition, and there'll be more of them on more corners, so that will solve the problem of having to walk or take public transportation too far to get to one, and then competition lowers prices. So that's how I would deal with it. I would look at is there something in here we can get rid of? How's the permitting process? How long does it take? How rapidly does whatever local government bureaucracy approve your I would like to open a bodega request? Can we expedite that? That's my solution.
And separately, I think what's interesting about the conversation that we were having.
Not going to do that, by the way.
Well, the conversation we were having about President Trump trying to. I mean, there's reports out that he's trying to get people out of the race so that it's Cuomo versus Mamdani.
Sure.
And I think that that's so interesting because, number one, I don't know that that's a winning formula. I'm not sure that Eric Adams, the people that are still supporting him, and certainly not the Republicans that are supporting Sliwa, will actually say, oh, I'm going to go over to Cuomo because my candidate left.
And polls suggest it's winnable for Cuomo if they both get out. You're right. I don't think it's a sure thing, but it's a sure loss right now.
Right, but that's one thing. But then also, most Republicans actually, from the ones that I've been speaking to, are excited about the idea of Mamdani being the face of the Democratic Party so that they can rail on this throughout the entire midterms and paint Democrats with a broad brush and say, oh, all Democrats want this. This is the next wave of the party since no one has laid out clear direction. So it seems like a win. But for President Trump, this is a loss. And we understand why. President Trump is heavily involved in business and real estate in New York. He talks to billionaires from New York probably all the time, and I'm sure they're campaigning for him to not allow this to happen because it will directly affect their pockets. But sometimes people like Mamdani are thinking about the people maybe that are not millionaires and billionaires and trying to say New York is completely unaffordable. If you think the rest of the country is unaffordable, New York is at the top tier of that list. It's very expensive. I don't know if it's more expensive than like San Francisco, but it's very expensive. And I think people are just looking for some relief. So Cuomo is not going to get it done even in the race. I mean, Cuomo has a very bad track record there at this point.
It's very expensive.
Prior to his incidents at the nursing home, prior to his incidents during COVID, prior to the sexual assault allegations, he's not the best candidate, but that's who Trump is allegedly supporting. I mean, they've been friends for more than 40 years, reportedly, according to the New York Times. So it's interesting to see him jumping in this race in this way and kind of silently supporting Cuomo if the reports are true.
Yeah. You're right that politically it makes more sense to let Mamdani win because then he can be the face of the Democratic Party and Republicans can run against him just like the way they did for AOC. So politically, I just think it's better if Mamdani wins. They're clearly the people in the administration it seems like they've put some, it's not really pressure, but they've tried to offer boons to, like there was talk about Eric Adams getting some kind of ambassadorship.
To Saudi Arabia.
While getting a role. I don't know how real these things are, but you're right that the administration has seemed to want them to get out of the race. So that has to be that's not for political, tactical reasons, because Mamdani is better for optics. I think they genuinely think, right, Mamdani's policies would be very bad for New York City, and Trump himself lives in New York City at times and has friends and business associates there that would think it would be bad. So,
but here's the thing:
it's sincere that they don't want him to win.
What if Mamdani's policies work out? What if he tries this and it's out of all states that failed, he's the one that doesn't?
Confident.
No, you're pretty confident, but we don't know. What if the child care actually helps families?
Couldn't get it right, and the Soviet Union couldn't get it right,
what if Cambodia
couldn't get it right?
Take out the grocery stores. What about the other policies? What if rent stabilization works out and New Yorkers are able to flourish again? Like, what if these things happen? Then be quiet. Let it play out and how it plays out in the midterm. If he's winning right now, I don't think a Republican president should get deeply involved in the race to try to make another Democrat win that's more aligned with him, rather than allowing somebody to try something new.
You jab the fork in the electrical socket and go, maybe it'll work next time.
Okay, but what would you be hoping to work with the fork going?
Well, his policies might be fine.
Like that makes no sense. Why would you ever stick the fork?
You're right. It makes no sense. I don't know why people keep voting for it. But he could be successful because maybe he just won't do any of the bad socialist ideas, and he'll govern as a normal Democrat or a normal.
No, nobody wants normal Democrat. Nobody wants normal Democrat. People did not.
Democrats don't.
No, people did not pick Kamala a normal Democrat. People did not pick her to be president. People didn't want a normal Democrat, right?
There's no personality.
Okay, well, if you're voting off personality, that's ridiculous. You should vote off leadership, laws, and standing by what you said you were going to do, all things that President Trump lacks in, right? He's not following through. Things he said he's going to do, doesn't have good leadership skills, acts like a child with AI.
You're making people laugh. All right, we should leave it there. We've got so much to say on Rising still to come. Stay with us.